to Transcending Borders Corporation. My name is Tangela Oates, and I am the CEO and founder. And welcome to our live, but actually it's a pre-recorded, but it is live video in which we have the opportunity to speak with our guest today, Reverend Dr. LaSonja Richardson. I am elated. She is a author. She is the founder and CEO of Able and Willing LLC. And I am going to add her into this interview now so that you definitely get to take a chance to see her, and we'll have a little bit of one-on-one. And if you have any questions, you guys know definitely how to reach out to me. And if you don't, most people just email me at info@tborders.com. Hi, Reverend Dr. LaSonja Richardson.
Hello, how are you? It's so good to be with you today.
I am so elated. I am wonderful. I am so excited to thank you, first of all, for agreeing to allow our organization to conduct this. It's not really an interview because you and I, we seem like we do so well together. So yes. I said, at least allow us to host you on our side as a guest.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yeah, listen, I'm elated. So with that being said, right, I want to jump into it.
All right.
I did state earlier that, again, you're the founder and the CEO of Able and Willing LLC.
Yes.
Also, I would like to add too, again, that you are also an author. Mm-hmm. Your book is titled Mentoring from the Heart.
Yes.
So, and it's a plethora of accolades. And again, I did say a little bit earlier, if anyone had any questions, they know how to get in contact with me. But I'm also going to add your information at the end of this video. So if they would like to get in contact with you, they can do it directly. So with that being said, let's talk about Able and Willing LLC. So share with us a little bit, or the whole world, because we're the whole world, about your mission and your vision and what inspired you to become the founder and the CEO of Able and Willing LLC.
All right. Well, again, thank you for having me. It is such a joy. And I have to start with Able and Willing LLC was actually born first, Able and Willing Editing. And so that was my major business. And then after I retired from the military, my creative gene just kind of jumped back into hyperdrive. And I started doing other things such as making silk floral arrangements, designing jewelry. And now I'm about to launch my coaching practice. And so a very good friend from T Borders suggested putting all of my businesses under one umbrella. And I thought that was a fantastic idea. Hence, Able and Willing LLC was born. And so that was born because when I looked at everything I do is about bringing out the creative side and making everyone's life better. So that is the purpose, whether it's bringing beauty into their life with the jewelry and the florals, or making their dream come true of being an author and publishing a book, or whether it's making their life better through coaching.
Okay, now I love it, right? So so how about this? Can I Able and Willing Editing, right?
Yes.
Because just to clear up everything, I just wanted, because you referenced the flowers and the jewelry.
Yes.
So just so everyone who's listening to us will understand, is that Able and Willing LLC actually has three particular tiers in which you
Absolutely.
focus on. Okay. And the first is the Able and Willing Editing.
Yes.
The second is not necessarily in this order, mean anyone that takes precedent over another now. Just so we understood.
Yes, right.
And then another tier would be Sarah's Angels.
Yes.
Right? Okay. And that is where you have all of your jewelry and your silk flowers, your arrangements. Yes. Okay. And then what about and it's Your Life
Coach.
That is the new endeavor. That, congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. That one's still in process, but it will be coming very, very soon.
And if you see me by chance looking down, I'm always taking notes, because
Yes.
as you know, I do definitely believe in collaborations and networking and bringing different people, across the boards
Hmm.
together. So with the able and willing editing, now, can I ask you just a couple questions about editing?
Absolutely.
Your professional opinion. Okay, what would you say, right, would be three top recommendations for a individual who is seeking to have their book, a self-published author, having their book edited?
The
What would
first
you say?
thing I tell my writers is go through the book and do as much as you can,
Okay.
because for my particular company, we edit at an hourly rate. And
Mm,
so what I tell my writers is, if you want to pay me to research on
mhm.
the internet, because the books I edit, um, especially when we're talking about a fictional book,
Okay.
we want to check it for accuracy, we
Okay.
want to check it for believability,
Hmm.
and then conciseness. Don't take 15 words to say what you can say in 7.
Okay.
More words is not necessarily better. And
Mm,
so I've had writers that will come and they want their book to be 100 pages. And I say, okay, well, we don't need to have all these words to make it 100 pages. We can do it with font. There are many, many things we can do to get you to 100 pages. So don't just start stringing words because you lose your audience. And
oh,
so you want your book to be accurate. You want it to be believable.
okay.
Um, if you have a court scene, you can't have a murder trial and they have opening arguments in the morning and they have a verdict in the afternoon. It just doesn't happen
I
that way.
understand. Okay.
So, make sure your story is believable. Do your research. Know if you've got a medical scene, go online, find out what they do in the hospital, find out what the lingo is, and make sure you use what they would use. We would say, for instance, stitches, but a doctor is going to say, or a nurse is going to say, sutures. That we don't use the word stitches in the
Okay.
hospital. We say sutures. And so things like that. So it's small things. And most people call me and they want to know, number one, and it's a valid question, how much is it going to cost?
Makes
And I say, well, I don't want to insult you, but how well do you write? How well you write
great
is going to
point.
determine how much it's going to cost, because it's an hourly rate.
Mm,
So
okay.
those are the things: accuracy, believability, and conciseness.
Okay. Those are the three things. Okay. Now, I did hear you mention about the research piece of it, which I
Yes.
think, and I didn't ask in particular a particular question about it, but I do like the fact that you reference take a little time and research if you're writing about a specific career field, or I guess I don't know if it'd be a specific genre, maybe. Go and understand a little bit more about that lingo or the terminology they use, or hey, maybe they would not be in the rainforest as like you probably may think. They may actually be in the desert. So, okay,
Exactly.
okay, so that's understandable. So I hope who's ever watching this video definitely take away those three key points.
Yes.
What those three key points again?
So accuracy at the ABCs:
Okay,
accuracy, believability, and conciseness.
and conciseness. Great. Okay. Oh, another key question. I did have someone who emailed me and they were saying, would you be willing to give your professional opinion? Of course, I always say we're a professional person about the difference between being a proofreader than being a than editing. Is there a difference? And if so,
There
what?
is definitely.
Okay.
So
Okay.
a proofreader, they're going to check for spelling, they're going to check for grammar, but they may not necessarily tell you. So as an editor, I'm checking to see if your story matches. Does the character you introduced in chapter 1 and then talked about in chapter 5, is it the same character? Does your reader know that it's the same character? Did you start your story in a wonderful place, a gripping, catch
Mm,
the reader's attention, And then on page 4, you go back and you now describe the character that you introduced in paragraph 1. It's out of place. And so a proofreader is not necessarily going to look for those things. They're not going to look for the flow of the book. They're not going to look to see if your book is keeping the attention of the reader. They're going to be very, I'll call it very vanilla. They're going to be very straightforward. They're going to check for spelling. They're going to check for grammar. And then that may be it. They may check for punctuation. But the editor will look at the overall part of the wholeness of your book. Do you have an entire book? Is your story a good story? Will it keep the reader's attention, or will the reader say, well, that's kind of crazy, I'm just putting that down? So that's the largest difference between a proofreader and an editor.
Okay. Wow. Well, I'm learning as well, so thank you. And then with that, since we're talking about the editing piece, basically in the writing piece, let's is it okay if we move into, well, let's think about, let's discuss this, right?
Okay.
It has been in one of our past conversations that you have decided to move forward with maybe trying to invite editors,
Yes.
okay, to be able to apply to become editors at Able and Willing LLC. So I'm saying from a business aspect of it, that just tells me that there is a need, and
Absolutely.
that there are a lot of people who are, who are inquiring for the service. Now, with that being said, what type of writing, because I think sometimes we might miss that, what types of writings um, would need editing? I guess that may be kind of broad, but like for instance, it may be blogs. Could it be manuscripts? Can it be publications and that things of that sort? So when you're searching for your editors, or you're interviewing your prospective candidates, what are you looking for in an editor?
Well, the first thing, and it may be a surprise to some people, but the first thing I'm looking for is, do you love reading?
Okay.
Because if you love reading, you're going to have read many books, and you can see how books are put together. You know what you like. And as an editor, when I'm editing a book, I put myself into the story. How does that story make me feel? One of my favorite books, and I've told my writer this, was My Life Story Through Mine Own Eyes. And it was a biography of her life, and the book, and I actually went to, she went what I call old school, and she booked space at a library, and she booked space at a bookstore and did a book reading, and then sold, her book there. So, and I actually, she invited me, and I went down and I said, this book had me laughing, it had me crying, it had me afraid, it had me angry at some of the things she went through. And because this was a lady that lived through the 60s and was arrested and was doing the sit-ins in the civil rights movement. And so her life was so interesting. She lost a child. Her oldest child died in an ATV accident. And she was there when he took his last breath. So it was so powerful, which she wrote about. So she was passionate about what she was writing, and it gripped my attention and kept it. Another one that was one of my favorites was The Boy Next Door. And not to give it away, but toward the end of the book, I was going, no. And I told the writer, I said, you messed me up at the end. He brought it back around, but it messed me up. And I was like, this is going to be great. So I like suspenseful movies. I like suspense. And so, but knowing what you're editing, if you're editing poetry, it's different than editing a nonfiction or a fiction book, because poetry, the writer, the the grammar is not the same. The flow is not the same if you're doing poetry. So you have to know your genre.
Oh,
And so, and I explained to someone that was interviewing, she had a bachelor's degree,
mhm.
but I told her I would not give her a project that was something like a doctoral dissertation, because doctoral dissertations are very, very specific, and it's a very specific thing that has to be done. And so if you've never been through the process, then it's hard to know what to do and know what to ask for. And so that's the way I screen who I'm going to pass work on to
Mhm.
and what work I'm going to keep.
Mm. Okay.
So the genre is very, very specific, whether it's a school paper for a bachelor's program, a school paper for a master's program, a school paper for a doctoral program,
Okay.
and then a dissertation, and then your fiction, your nonfiction, your self-help, um, your poetry. So what I tell people is I edit anything in writing, and I will take you from where you are to ready for print or publishing, whether
Mm.
you're going to e-print or whether you're going to actually print it in a book.
Okay.
So that's where I take them, to include copyright, to include the ISBN. So I take them all the way through their process.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Ooh.
It's a
Okay.
lot.
It's beautiful. It is. I always welcome the opportunity to learn from other business owners
Mhm.
about what they do, how they do it, their passion, their mission, and what even got them there. And it's phenomenal. It's more than just being in business to make money. It's the
Mhm.
connections, it's the collaboration. So no, I'm learning so much. So I appreciate that. I definitely would like to know though, and this is personal for me to you, is that you authored Mentoring from the Heart.
Mhm.
So, being that for those of who may be listening or chiming in or what have you, you are a military retiree, uh,
Yes.
and so with that being said, and I'm too a veteran retiree.
Mhm.
What it? How did you come up with this book from your heart in your experience?
My husband. When I retired,
Mhm.
I had been to many, many retirements, and the retiree, they would give like a candy bar with their name on it on the wrapper. Way back, it was matches or something like that. But
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
as we came into a newer and a more healthy workforce,
Mhm.
that kind of changed. But I wanted to give something, and as I was speaking with my husband about it, I said, I want to give something that's going to mean something. I want to give something that's going to help someone. And he just very casually said, write a book. I said, write a book? You're crazy. I can't write no book. And he said, sure you can. I said,
Mhm.
I don't even know what I would write on, but that
Mhm.
thought just kept spinning around in there. Write a book, write a book. What would you write about? And he said, write about what you're passionate about, mentoring.
Mm, mm,
So then it became very easy because I mentored people, so many people, while I was in the military.
mhm,
And that was my passion, to the point where um, one of my sergeants asked me, Chief, what's going to be your legacy? And I said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, you know how some people have like programs and stuff that they do. And I said, you know what? I said, mine is going to be people. And he said, what? I said, some people build buildings, some people build programs. I build people. And what I build will last forever.
amen to that. Yeah.
And he said, wow. So mentoring from the heart was my Air Force experience of mentoring. And it was the good, the bad, and the ugly of what I learned along the way, because you make mistakes along the way. And I think it's important to share that and be transparent about that so that other people can learn, because no one is perfect, and only giving the good does not help people. They have to know that yeah, you fell down. Yeah, I didn't get that one quite right. I said this, but yeah, when I thought back on it, that probably wasn't the correct thing to say. So, but what was the most special thing about that book for me, the last chapter, was Who Do Men Say That I Am? And that came from a question that Christ asked the disciples. They said, some say you're Isaiah, some say you're this person. And he said, but who do you say that I am?
Yeah.
And so I went back to some of my former airmen and asked them to give me a story about an experience with me. And it didn't have to be a good one. I said, just, and I went specifically to people that were not working for me at the time.
Okay.
And so I said, please, just give me a story, any story you want. And I'm going to put it in this book. And they did. And it was wonderful. The things that they shared. So that was, and it just touched my heart. So that was mentoring from the heart. And then I took that book, wrote it, got it reproduced, and that's what I gave at my retirement. So that was, yes, I gave that away at my retirement.
That's awesome. And you talking about thinking way. I'm not really always down with that think out of the box term. I think that's kind of played out now. But at that time, that's probably what we were still saying then. Yeah, think out the box. That is absolutely awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Now, okay, and you mentioned that last part of the book, right? So I would love for you to also share with us about because we noticed, Reverend, I was going to just move on through back to Sarah's Angel, but when you did acknowledge the last part of the book, this is perfect, right?
Okay.
But let's talk about this beautiful, beautiful center that you have, that you co-pastor, right? Okay, and it's located in
Douglasville,
right? Okay, and that would be Georgia,
Douglasville, Georgia.
But also online, definitely.
Yes, absolutely.
My presence as well.
Yes.
And they'll be able to get all that information as well at the end of the video. So even if they don't even want to hear us anymore, they can just pass it on through and they can get all the information at the end. We'll definitely make sure it's available to them as well. So would you definitely share with us about that too? How that came about and what you see your purpose, your vision for as well with that.
Well, Love Christian Center was born out of my father. For those who may not be familiar with church etiquette and church terms, when you accept a call to ministry, the pastor that trains you and gives you your license is called your father in the ministry. And so my father in the ministry was in Virginia. And that was my last duty assignment before I retired. And he was his wife was also a minister, and she was my trainer. And he licensed me. And as we moved to Georgia, we joined a church when we came. Well, when we went back to Virginia for an anniversary, or it was some occasion that we went back for with the church, the pastor called us into the office. And I was going to be the worship leader. Now, this was a very large church, and it was pastor's anniversary. And so there were many, many people. There were lots of visitors there. The church was completely packed. And I was going to be the worship leader.
Okay.
And so I was already a nervous wreck. And he called us into the office. The pastor called us into his office. And he said, we're getting ready to start planting churches. We're going to put one down there in Georgia, and you and your husband are going to pastor. Go ahead and get the service started.
Okay.
And I thought, are you kidding me? You drop that on me like that and then tell me to go out and start the service as if I wasn't nervous enough already. I'm about to jump out of my skin.
Exactly.
And so I came back. Well, we came back from Virginia, and I went into prayer and meditation, fasting. I attended conferences, did webinars. So I'm trying to gather all the information I can gather to do. So we're a church plant. That's what we're called, a church plant,
Okay.
because we were planted out of another church. So there's a whole story. I won't go into the whole thing, but there's a whole story there. But where we are now, I am the senior pastor. We found co-pastoring really doesn't work real well when you're trying to. So God gave me the vision
Okay.
for the church. So I am the senior pastor. My husband is the co-pastor, and yes, it works well. We don't, I don't. You got to do this, so still can respect. So for all those people out there who say, oh, a woman can't pastor, well, yes, because God is not a respecter of person. And so we are on the move. We're a church on the move. We just got back into our building after being online for about a year and a half. We shut down March of 2020, and actually it was almost 2 years now that I think about it. And we had our first service January 29th, the last Sunday in January. Was when we actually came back into the building. I think January 30th, we had our open house, the 29th. So for just under 2 years, we were online strictly. And so we're maintaining that presence online for those that can't get out to the church, those that may not be comfortable coming back out yet. Those who may have gained COVID weight because they got comfortable being at home and are embarrassed to come back out, and are staying online. So we are maintaining that online presence, but at the same time, that online presence is wonderful, and I want as many followers as we can have, and I want that. But at the same time, we need people in the building, I'll say boots on the ground, to make disciples, because we have to have those people within to do the things and fulfill the vision that God has given me, and that is to not only take the word to the world, because what we believe is, yes, we want everyone to be saved, but at the same time, you still have to live here on this earth. So we want to help you live your best life on this earth, because you still have to have money, you still have ideas, you still have to eat, you still have to work, there are things that you have to do. You don't get saved and then go to heaven. So, you've got to work. And so we want people to come into the building. We want people to help in that mission to make more disciples and then teach them. We want to feed the homeless. We want to provide homes for the homeless. We want to feed the children during the summer, those children that don't get good meals. If school is not in, we want to have a summer feeding program for the children. We want to create tutoring for the children that might be having problems. There's so many programs and things. Ultimately, we want to be able to send children to college and pay for college and then come out with no debt. And so, there are so many things and ways that we want to enrich people's lives while while they're waiting to go to heaven. We don't want them to get saved and go home and sit down and wait for Christ to come.
Yeah, I understand. And that is again, when I hear you, you are inspirational. I love the work that you do, because what you have always said from day one is, hey, listen, I'm here. I'm going to definitely be about the word. Yes. But I recognize that you have to live, but I'm still going to be about the word.
Yes.
I can definitely show you and teach you how to move and how to understand the word and how to live your life within that. But I understand you still got to eat. And I still know you still got to get a job, things of that sort. So that's it's a lot of things that I respect and love and admire about you. But it's just thankful to hear someone in the particular position and role that you're in, also acknowledge that as well. So it's the whole facet is what I definitely admire about you having that conversation and being open about it as well. Okay, so with that being said, now Sarah's Angels.
Yes.
Sarah's Angels.
That's my heart. That's my heart.
Ooh.
Because, and I tell you, Sarah was my mother.
Okay. Yeah,
And
well, we had
that
the
was
conversation.
that's my best. That was my best friend. She was, that was my heart. My mother was she was a teenage mom, and we grew up together. And I was raised as an only child, and so we did stuff, so much stuff. So that was my heart. And then Angel is my granddaughter. So, some people would come up and they would say, "Are you Sarah or Angel?" I would say, "Neither. I'm LaSonja. I'm in the middle." So my mother was Sarah, my granddaughter is Angel, Sarah's Angels. Yeah. So my heart on both sides. So that's where that name came from. But Sarah's Angels came about because I had a beaded necklace that I had purchased. And I was about to put it on, and the necklace broke, and the beads went all over the floor. Oh. And I said, "Are you kidding me?" And I said, "I'm not doing this right now." And I left because I was on my way out, and I left the beads all over the floor. And then when I came back home, I said, "Okay, pick this stuff up before you fall." Mm-hmm. So I picked the beads up. And I said, "Okay, I need to put this back together because I really love the necklace." And as I was trying to put it back together, I was like, I'm never going to be able to remember how this was put together and the order that these beads were in. And something said, it doesn't matter. However you do it, it's going to be right. Oh, and I thought, wow.
That's a great point.
So, yeah. So when you're making something, however you do it, when you're doing something that no matter what you do, it's right, that is so stress relieving. That is so satisfying to say, you know what, I meant to do that. And nobody can say that's not right. Nobody can tell you it's not right because it came from you. It came from your heart and it's your creation. So that's the way I relax. And then again, adding beauty to people's lives to enhance their lives. Everybody feels good when they have something beautiful on. Mm-hmm. So this what I'm wearing is one of my creations.
I noticed that, right? I want to see.
I got this part in Belize. And so I wanted to, I took it off the what they had it on, made a kumihimo. It's not a chain, but necklace, and put this on there, designing the colors, putting the colors that I wanted, the way I wanted it. Okay. And so, redesign. I design from scratch, and then I redesign sometimes. So yeah, that's my heart. And that's when I'm stressed, I can get my jewelry out, and it has grown. I've got two, what people would put their fishing lures in. So 2 large tackle boxes. And then I've got another box it's full of beads. So I should be the most relaxed person in the world.
Well, I need to get to beading.
It is a process. It is a beautiful process.
Maybe that would be our next session. Yeah. Live.
We can do that.
Help her learn to bead so she can relieve some of the stress as well. Right?
Exactly.
That is so inspirational. That's a great way to I would like, to acknowledge to what you said is that no matter what goes on, you have a stress reliever.
Yes.
So you can release that stress. Is where you can be creative. You also can generate income. You know how I always
yes
from it as well. So and last but not least, let's talk about your, again, congratulations, but your upcoming It's Your Life Coach. Let's talk about that and your foundation or your principles on that as well.
Okay, well, It's Your Life Coach is really just a continuation of my military mentoring. In the military, they called it mentoring. In what we call the civilian sector, they call it coaching, life coaching. And so it is truly just a continuation of what I was already doing. And so I took a little time. I actually retired in 2010. And so I had to take a little time because my entire adult life, I was 18 years old when I joined the military, and I spent 30 years. So my entire adult life, all I knew was the military.
Yeah.
And I was an expert in the military. I could tell you how you got how to get promoted. I could tell you how to be better at your job. It didn't matter what job you had. I could tell you how to be better at your job. I could tell you all of those things because I was an expert, because that was my life. So I had to take a little time and learn the civilian side of life. And once I kind of started seeing how competitive, we'll say, it is in the civilian sector, I started to find my niche and learn how, okay, this is how I can coach. And then I found a course from Light University, Life Coaching 101, and went to a conference. So Light University was birthed by the president of the American Association of Christian Counselors, of which I am a member.
Okay.
By the way, my degree is a doctor of ministry with emphasis in pastoral counseling. So that's why I'm a member of the AACC.
Okay.
So the president of the AACC is also the dean and founder of Light University, and so it was a self-paced program, online program, very good information. So as I went to the AACC conference, I won a class, and so I took Advanced Life Coaching 201. And so I've gone through the life coaching and the advanced life coaching because I believe anything you're going to do, be prepared. You must prepare yourself. You must get your education, experience, and then set out. It's not wise to just see someone and say, I'm going to do that, but don't make preparation for it. And
great point.
Everyone else is supposed to just love you and accept you
and pay for it.
And pay for it, and you haven't made any preparation. So, one of the questions that I ask in my pastoral role and my counselor role, and would ask in the coaching role, what makes you qualified to do what you're going to do? And I've had people get upset about that, but I said, why would I talk to you? Why would I go to you? And I tell them, you need to answer that question. You need to be able to answer that question. And so just taking it basically to the next chapter. I won't say another level, but just taking it to the next chapter of mentoring, now coaching. And for my coaching clients, as they come, they will receive a free copy of my book, Mentoring from the Heart. And that will kind of give them a little more insight into who I am as a person. Because one of my biggest, I won't say disagreements, but just differences of opinions. In the military, there was an actual instruction, an Air Force instruction about mentoring. It said that each supervisor was to mentor their supervisee. Well, my thing was, if you don't like me, I can't mentor you because you're not going to listen to me. So,
or vice versa.
Right. And mine was,
great point.
So you have to choose me to be your mentor.
Great point.
Me choose you. Because if I walk up to you and say, Tan, you know what? I'm going to mentor you, and you don't like me, and you're like, why are you even talking to me? So, that will give them a little more insight. And I talk about that in the book also, about how what the Air Force's position on it was versus what mine was.
Mm.
And so it actually opened me up to, you did not have to be my supervisee for me to mentor you. And the higher I went in rank, the fewer people I had that were directly under me, that were supervised by me. Yet I still mentored hundreds of people throughout my career. So I want to make that impact in people's lives and get them going in the right direction and see them succeed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that gives me joy, seeing
Yeah,
other people
likewise.
succeed, seeing them reach their capability and even beyond what they thought they could do. I get so much joy in that.
Yeah.
So that would feed me as they succeed.
Yeah, yeah. We're both laughing and smiling because exactly, I 100%. I would not be where I am today without my mentors. Yeah, I'm hands down. I tell anyone that I came in, and to be honest, and I always say this across the board, my mentors were diverse.
Mm-hmm.
So I had almost probably every nationality at some point,
Yes.
and then I learned from those who I mentored as well, because so when you get into talking about the life coaching, and as well as the mentoring, that is so broad. And what I do, what I agree with you is, like you said before, is that a person has to be open, or it has to be
Yes.
a voluntarily process. They have to volunteer
Mm-hmm.
to be open to receive, or even know what you're about to say. Yeah, no, I agree, or I would like for you. Maybe I don't. So yeah, man, woo, we could go on and on with this. Maybe we just start doing this like every week or so. Do it live and let them come in and say, hey, yeah, because like you said, I think one of the things is that we are missing the positivity, or
Yes.
positive, not just affirmations, but people who can seek out positive things, like you said, when things may not look good. If you don't
Mm-hmm.
have a negative, you don't spark that positive.
Right.
Oh, oh,
Exactly.
yeah. So yeah, we might have to do this, but maybe if we might have to talk
Mm-hmm.
about that. Okay. Um, I would like to highlight again though that I'm thankful. Before we close out again, I say I appreciate
Mm-hmm.
it. I'm thankful. We're thankful over here, our few team members that we have.
Yes.
um, that you did decide and take out of your schedule. I know how busy you are, to meet with us and actually do this, become a guest speaker here, because I wanted to, with Transcending Borders, the goal is to also highlight women-owned businesses, minorities, veteran-owned businesses, disabled-owned businesses, but also just to
Check,
start
check, check, check.
and definitely enjoy, and create an environment in which we decide to collaborate in partnership. So, on and learn from each other. So that is one of the plethora of things that I would like to call myself checking out as I go along. I miss a few here and there, but just to reiterate, so everyone knows, is that Able and Willing LLC, we're going to post everything at the end of the video. So they'll have your website. They'll know directly how to get in contact with you. So they'll be able to learn a little bit more about Able and Willing editing, Sarah's Angels, and It's Your Life Coach as well. But they'll definitely be able to reach out to you directly. And also, we're going to post. Can we post the information about your center as well? Would that be okay to add?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
okay,
So
okay.
Love Christian Center.
Yeah, can we do that as well? Okay,
Absolutely. We are
okay.
a non-denominational, I put it this way, we are a non-denominational Baptist-based church because every church is built out of something. Even if they say they're non-denominational, they were birthed out of some denomination.
Oh,
And
okay.
so you're going to see a little piece. So you may come in the door and you will see everything. So what we believe is everything the Bible says.
I hear you.
That's
Okay,
what we believe.
okay. So
That,
I'm definitely I'm gonna post that too as well at the end, and I also post a direct link if anyone is interested in purchasing your Mentoring from the Heart book as well.
Okay.
So with that being said, again, I thank you. I appreciate. We sent your gift to you. You know, your little package, just free. You know, to
Yes.
kind of make sure.
I love it.
So we sent that out to you. Is it anything that you would like to say before we actually close out the video at all?
I just thank you for taking your time
Oh,
and for even thinking that I was worthy to do this.
oh
Because as we lift each other up, it just everyone benefits.
yes.
And so I appreciate what you've been in my life, because you reached out, and I just so appreciate that. And so you have been a mentor for me,
Oh,
because you have caused me to think about things that I didn't think. Us creative folks, we don't think too
oh,
much about, we kind of we don't get down in the weeds about the business side. And so, you look, you're helping us stay out of jail.
yeah, they'll be
So,
like, "Do you know?" And I'm like, oh, you know,
so
yeah, yeah. So
I
I'm with
appreciate you, and I would just say to anyone who is looking to go into business, start a business, they need to contact you, because you will get them started and you will get them going in the right direction. And if you're looking to expand or grow your business, they need to contact you, because you think you're a forward thinker.
you.
So I appreciate you, um, and your input, and um, what you've been in my life, not just my business, but in my life. So thank you.
Now, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and have to say this because this video is so us. I love you. I mean, anyone looks at this video, I'm sorry, but I love you.
I love you too.
So I mean, this is how it is. So I guess if anyone else wants to join as a guest speaker, I may not say that I love them, but I do appreciate what they do. But I love you, girl. So again, thank you, and to anyone who's listening, feel free. Again, you can email me at info at tborders.com. I'm going to have Reverend Dr. LaSonja Richardson information at the end of this um, video. And for those of you who I guess I should have said it, but well, you know what? I have everything there, and I make sure I post everything in the comments because you may not be able to get it from the audio, and it'll be okay. But if you email me, I'll get you to her. Okay,
Amen.
literally speaking. Okay, so I love you, thank you, and you have a wonderful, blessed evening.
You too. Thank you so much.
Bye bye.